Number 3, and this is a big one, okay? Elite in-home sales professionals have the right belief system. They understand that the appointment that they're headed out to, they believe that that's a sale before they ever left the house, okay? And they're not saying that just because they happen to be the only person going out to that home today to be talking about windows or your particular service or whatever it is that you're offering. They believe that they are uniquely positioned at the right time, at the right place to serve by selling. They understand that no one is bored enough to have somebody come out to their home if they didn't want to buy, regardless of what they tell you when you get there. No, I'm not saying they will buy. That's why you're a salesperson, not an order taker. But understand that no one is bored enough to do this. And just think about it, right? Because they had the option to request information on your online offering, or perhaps they met an event marketer or a canvasser at their door. They said yes to receiving that information. Well, then they were followed up by either you or your office, your appointment setter, and they talked to them about the value of the visit, the value of the appointment. And now that person agreed to the visit. They agreed to the appointment. Well, then before the appointment happened, they said one more yes, because they could have just canceled that appointment and decided, oh, we don't feel like doing that. But they didn't. They said yes by following through with that appointment. So think about this. They said yes to your information. They said yes to the appointment. They said yes to actually following through with the appointment. No one does this if they are not interested enough to buy what you are offering. Okay. And this is a major key to becoming an elite in-home sales professional. So when you think about your belief system, think about it like this. Here, I'm going to break out my high-tech whiteboard over here for just a moment. When you think about your belief system, here's how it works. And I'm just going to draw 4 boxes. Okay. And the way that this works is that everything that we do, particularly in sales, starts with an initial belief. Okay. And whatever that belief is, then drives an action. Now, as a result of your action, whatever your action dictated, that creates a result. And then again, your result goes back to reinforce whatever your initial belief is. Are you guys with me on this, right? So here, we're calling it your belief system, or if you want to be funny, call you out on your BS. So what is your belief system? The simple truth that I'm explaining to you right now either has the power to destroy you as an in-home sales professional or to dramatically increase your results, okay? And we understand how this works, because here's what happens, right? We have an appointment scheduled and you might Zillow it before you go. Or you're pulling up in your vehicle and you see that, oh, this is in a lower home value neighborhood. So they probably can't afford our services or might not have the credit necessary to get approved for our financing. So that's your initial belief. What is that belief? They're probably not going to buy. They probably can't buy. Well, as a result of that, then we take an action. We are less passionate. We are selling with less conviction. We are less serving, shortcutting the process, right? Key number 2, like I just talked about. Whatever that action is then drives the result. Well, they didn't buy. We didn't successfully serve by selling them. And then what we do as salespeople, we let ourselves off the hook and see, it's like I already knew they weren't going to be able to buy or weren't able to buy today. You get my point. Reinforces the belief. Okay. Or the other thing that happens in in-home sales, right? You think about your last 3 appointments that you've had this week, and maybe 2 of them were a one-legger, and 1 of them is a no-show. So before you even head out to the 4th appointment, you now have a belief system that this appointment is going to be like all the other appointments that you've already had. And as a result of that, you show up and, it turns out to be a great prospect. It might be in a modest home, but they take care of everything. They have fantastic credit. They are ideal, and they need and want, because they agreed to the appointment, what it is that you're offering. But because we had it built up in our head of our last 3 appointments as to what was going to happen, that drove our action. And as a result, we weren't prepared to serve them. We dropped the ball. We failed. And we weren't able to close them. And then again, we can still let ourselves off the hook and say, well, again, that was only 1 out of 4 appointments that we had. Come on. Are you guys with me? Are you hearing me this? Because look, this is true regardless of what aspect of selling you're in. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So whether you're an in-home sales professional or even a marketer, perhaps a canvasser or an event worker or an appointment setter, you have to get your belief system correct. If how you start out working an event, if you're an event marketer, is, oh my gosh, this doesn't seem like a great event, there's not a lot of people here, that initial belief drives your action. Okay? Not a lot of people here, probably not going to pull a lot of leads, less passion, less conviction, less go get them. Which means at the end, oh, you didn't pull a lot of leads. Oh, see, like I told you, it wasn't a good event. If you start out on the phone and you say, no one's going to pick up the phone today, or they're all going to tell me that they, aren't able to set the appointment for this reason, that reason, or the other reason, well, that drives your action. You're going to make less calls. And as a result of that, you're going to set less appointments. And then again, that reinforces your initial belief. See, I told you it was going to be one of those days where nobody answers the phone. See, are you following what I am saying? This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever your initial belief is true, one way or the other. So I'll kind of end this part with one of my favorite stories that relates to selling involving Pete Rose. And if you're not familiar with who Pete Rose is, ask somebody apparently over the age of 44 in your sales organization. They'll explain it. But Pete Rose was on the cusp of breaking the all-time hitting record in Major League Baseball. And rumor has it that before one of his games, he had 5 hits left to go before he was going to break that record. And a journalist came up to interview him and basically said something to the effect of, okay, Pete, your batting average relates to closing. Your batting average is at a little over 300, right? So mathematically, if you need 5 hits, you would need 15 at-bats, right? But that's not what he asked Pete. He says, Pete, how many at-bats are you going to need to get your 5 hits to break this record? And Pete looks back at him believingly and convincingly says, well, I guess that means I need 5 at-bats. And the journalist says, oh, come on, Pete. That's unrealistic. There's no way you're going to get 5 hits in a row. And Pete looks back at the journalist and says something very profound. He says, if I don't believe I'm going to get a hit, why even step up to the plate? So my question for you here is, if you do not believe that you are going to get a sale and serve by selling, before you walk out the door to your appointment, why even go? Do you follow me? Come on now.